When it comes to Algorand, even though nothing I say is financial advice, I think something not too long ago happened that I would consider great news for it. Now, let me explain what I mean by this, because not too long ago, the Algorand Foundation made a post on X and it said that Algorand has been added as a partner for Google Cloud Tech's Agent Payments Protocol, or in this case, it does say AP2. Now, this is pretty interesting because it does say that Google developed AP2 to initiate and transact agent-led payments across platforms securely. So when I take a look at, again, Algorand being added as a partner for Google Cloud Tech's Agent Payments Protocol, that I think is a pretty massive victory at the end of the day. Now, again, even though nothing I say is financial advice, keep in mind, right? The payments market, supposedly as of right now, is currently valued at over $2 trillion. So that's very massive. If we compare that to, let's say, the AI market, right? That market is expected to be worth nearly $2 trillion by 2030, according to Grandview Research. Again, the payments market is already valued more than that right now, allegedly. It doesn't have to wait another 5 years. So when it comes to Algorand, I do like what I'm seeing because even supposedly, Algorand is the technology of choice for over 2,000 global organizations. That's a very impressive, I think, statistic because I think it really does showcase the kind of belief sometimes that these organizations have, or should I say has, when it comes to Algorand. So yeah, when I take a look at something like Algorand, I do like what I'm seeing. And also on top of that as well, when it comes to Algo, its native token, I haven't forgotten about that, and I'm still thinking about the idea of maybe $5. Granted, $5 is currently now around a 26x from here. Algo, a bunch of, altcoins are not doing good as well, so Algo is no stranger to that. But my point of view is this. In theory, right, the lower something is, the more room maybe it could grow. Doesn't mean it will, but maybe the more room it could grow. Who knows? Only time will tell. But also, what I find very surprising when it comes to Algorand is that, like just back in, we take a look at December of 2025, so that's not even a year ago at this point, the market cap at that point was nearly 4 billion. So less than a year ago, the market cap was nearly 4 billion. Market cap when it comes to Algo currently is around 1.5 billion. So literally, right? Again, less than a year ago, the market cap was over 2 times what we're seeing as of right now. I'm not saying it has to go back many, many years. I'm just saying literally less than a year ago, we just saw that. Again, when it comes to market cap. Now, historical performance doesn't guarantee future performance, but I just find that pretty surprising actually because, even if let's say Algo just went back to what it did back in December, it's already over 2x in terms of market cap. But even besides that as well, if I take a look at, let's say, something like Bitcoin, could you imagine, in order for that to do over 2x, it would have to reach like beyond 200,000, even despite the pullback as of right now. Is it harder for Algo to go to a market cap of nearly 4 billion or let's say Bitcoin to reach over 200 grand? You know what I mean? That's just my point of view. Like, Algo doesn't need that much of a volume to do that. Let's say, again, doing hypothetically over 2x from where it is as of right now in terms of market cap. Doesn't mean it will do that, but personally, I saw Algo reach nearly a $4 billion market cap, and that was even without an altcoin season, in my perspective. Algorand, in my opinion, is a very, famous layer 1 blockchain. It's not the most famous, but I think it's pretty famous. And also on top of that, it's supposedly carbon neutral. So I think that right there is a pretty cool aspect when it comes to Algorand. Now, people oftentimes like to say, okay, but still, how about maybe the idea of $5? Well, when it comes to Algo, $5, again, around a 26x from here, market cap at that point, considering current circulating supply would be around 44 billion. Now, the way I view it is this. We saw BNB reach a new all-time high during this cycle, whereas when it comes to Algo, clearly it has not reached a new all-time high during this cycle, but besides that as well, when I take a look at BNB back in 2021, market cap even back then, at one point was over 100 billion. And during that peak of that bull run in 2021, supposedly there was 300 million crypto owners, whereas as of right now, allegedly there's over 600 million, which is allegedly more than ever before in history. And what I find very fascinating is this. Again, BNB reached a market cap of over 100 billion many years ago. So is Algo at around a $44 billion market cap as of right now with more crypto owners when compared to back then? And I think with more kind of notoriety when it comes to layer 1 blockchains, it maybe just doesn't seem that ridiculous to me. But again, this is just my perspective. Now, also, when I take a look at Algorand, people like to say, okay, but why would anyone want to care about this if, let's say, there is something like Ethereum? Now, in my perspective, it's not only just one layer 1 blockchain and the rest don't really do anything. It's like, for instance, I mean, there's many cars out there, right? But it's not only just all from one brand. I mean, there's multiple brands out there, right? But also on top of that as well, I think a very unique aspect when it comes to Algorand is the aspect of ISO 20022, which actually is kind of surprising. When I first saw that, I was very surprised because usually that aspect right there is for projects like a Ripple, like a Stellar, those type of projects that are focused more so on payments and global trade and finance. So I didn't really expect that when it comes to Algorand, but just seeing that right there, that is, I think, very impressive because we have to consider ISO 20022, that is currently being used by many financial institutions from all around the world for something called inter-organizational data exchange. So it's already very widely used. It's not something that's kind of experimental. It's clearly already being used, again, by many financial institutions. And again, I don't really think about payments or global trade and finance when it comes to Algorand, but just seeing that right there is very impressive in my perspective. And sure, something like Ripple, something like Stellar has those aspects, but you take a look at Algorand. Some other projects out there, they're still working towards that, and many of them are not necessarily having the easiest time to get that sort of ISO 20022 aspect, right? Some projects out there, for instance, want that ISO 20022 compliance, but it's just taking a long time. So when I take a look at something like Algorand, I think what it's been able to achieve so far has been very impressive. At least this is the way to take a look at it. Now, sometimes you like to tell me, okay, but when is there going to be an altcoin season? Things just seem to be going down and then even more down, I should say, or even lower when it comes to altcoins. Look, I'm totally aware that the altcoin space as of right now isn't doing the best. But if my intention is the dollar cost average to the projects that I do like, if I see low prices temporarily, maybe, it wouldn't necessarily disappoint me because why would I only want to be dollar cost averaging when the price is a lot? Whereas when the price is low and then the fundamentals are the same, maybe if not better, I suddenly don't want a dollar cost average anymore. That just makes no sense to me. But again, this is just my perspective. And now when it comes to Algorand, though, again, people like to say, okay, when is there going to be an altcoin season? Maybe if it does happen. Now, personally, my perspective is that I don't think I'll be able to find the exact moment in time because even if I pulled up a price chart, I drew a random triangle or I drew a falling wedge pattern, even still, the market's not going to care about that. Like it literally is going to pay zero attention to what I have to do on that price chart. So there's only one thing I can control, and that's personally myself. So if I know that I won't be able to know when there is going to be exactly an altcoin season during the cycle, if it ever even does want to happen, all I can do is just prepare, hold, dollar cost average, and that's it. I'm just waiting for a moment in time in which maybe the space does something, but then literally beyond that, I can't do anything else when it comes to this space. Like, I can't demand it to do this or do that. Like, I literally can't. The only thing I can do is just stay patient, and that's pretty much about it. But that's what I'm going to be doing. But in the meantime, though, again, I think this kind of recent sort of news that was announced when it comes to Algorand, arguably, I would say, is very impressive. I mean, it's not really talked about that much, I think, because just the price isn't doing the best when it comes to algo. So it's sometimes kind of a little bit difficult to be enthusiastic for, arguably, I would say pretty good, or should I say great news at a time where the price isn't necessarily doing the best. But personally for me, I just still like it nonetheless because I actually think it is very impressive despite the price. And I just wanted to talk about it nonetheless because, again, I do like what I'm seeing when it comes to this. I'm just staying patient. Again, algo is not the only thing that's going down. Many altcoins out there are not doing good whatsoever, which is why I'm going to stay patient. Just do what I've been doing this entire time anyways. I'm going to stay the course. I'll wait and see. But in the meantime, again, I do like what I'm seeing when it comes to Algorand. In terms of the fundamentals, the price is a different case, but again, only time will tell when it comes to that. And feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I greatly appreciate it, and I want to say thank you for watching. I hope you all have a nice day. It's Vonnie the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.